everybody. Right, Matt, you've been given an amazing intro.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah. So personally, a little bit about myself is I coach 2 football teams, sucker for punishment, as well as my own kids. So I take on about 40 more kids every week, coaching youth development football, FA qualified. And I know there's a little bit on there about I can do a Rubik's Cube, which people keep trying to get me to do. It's too much pressure to do now, but if anyone's got one, I'll probably have a go at that. And yeah, I've been at Assa Abloy for about 5.5 years now.
Okay, cool. And what do you do at Assa?
So I'm responsible for product enrichment, products to market, solutions that we use. So anything from our ERP system right through to our e-commerce and e-business channels, such as AEM. So we use Adobe Experience Manager for our websites, IBM WebSphere for our e-business platforms, Magento for our sort of B2C platforms. So anything to do with products and applications, I sort of manage that side of things, how we get products to market.
Okay, cool. So tell us a bit about Assa then.
Yeah, so as Emily mentioned, a bit of a silent killer in the market, really. We specialise in solutions, opening solutions, access control. Chances are that if you stayed in a hotel last night, you've probably got one of our key cards that lets you into the hotel room. And there's a bit of a sad story. I know, obviously, Emily mentioned that she looks for it everywhere. I was in Florida a couple of years ago and standing in line to meet Mickey. Not me, the kids were.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking up, and it's Union, one of our branded products. Probably our biggest that you're all aware of is Yale. So Yale Smart CCTV, Yale Smart Access Control. So we specialise in everything that gains access to a building, keeps you secure in a building. If people don't want to let you out,
Fair enough.
are you allowed in? So yeah.
Well, you talk about that because it's not just domestic or offices or hotels. It goes a lot further.
Yeah, custodial, so a lot into sort of prisons. So if ever you're on the wrong side, I've got blueprints to let you out. Maybe that might work. But yeah, into NHS, hospitals. We do a lot of master keyed suites as well. So one key to gain all access to every building, every sort of door within that building, and then sort of skeleton keys down. And then we also do that for sort of like domestic as well. Obviously bathroom handles, hinges. So yeah, we saw a massive increase in sort of like home user renovation sales during COVID. Obviously where the investment was, people staying at home, want new doors. So yeah.
Fair enough.
It's quite interesting.
And Emily alluded to the fact that you've got about 60 brands in the UK. How many have you currently got on the PIM?
Probably all 60.
About all 60?
Yeah. We sort of onboard brands as well. We're in the process of sort of onboarding business units, which take sort of like they might look after maybe 5 or 7 brands unique to their business. Plus we're sort of acquiring businesses as well that are specific requirement to our portfolio. So we've just acquired sort of fire seals, smoke inhalation prevention. So anything when there's a fire, sort of like the seals around the door, expand, prevent smoke escaping. So we've just onboarded that company. There was about 5 brands within that. So yeah, we're always growing.
Okay. When you say you're always growing, who are your customers? What sort of customers are you selling to?
Yeah, well, as we mentioned, custodial, B2C. We're high presence on e-tailers as well, from our sort of B2C products, retail products, and ironmongery. So, Westlife moment. I promise not to do the air grab. But so we do a lot into ironmongery businesses, one-man bands that are out on the roads, that are doing installations, locksmiths. So yeah, we've got a massive portfolio of customers.
Okay, and how are you selling it? Or how many channels are you currently selling through to furnish all of those?
Probably about 10 or so, I'd say. So different channels such as B2C websites, so different websites for all those brands, so different brand specific. Market specific websites as well. We've got our own B2B web shop, and we have direct feeds into customers via EDI, OCR. So we do like the optical character recognition through PDFs that they send in. So yeah, it's quite a lot.
Okay. So that's a bit about the customers, a bit about the company. What role do you have specifically in Assa Abloy?
Probably the toughest role. Engaging with sort of customer service teams, product managers, marketing teams. And my role is to sort of collaborate all of those different businesses. Because whilst we're still Assa Abloy UK, there's a lot of brands with their own identity. And as such, when we bring brands on, it's how do we keep their identity, but then bring them under the portfolio of Assa Abloy UK. So we've got that big sort of hierarchy of how we want the products to look and feel, whilst not losing the identity of the products that we've onboarded. Collaborating with product managers, marketing teams, ensuring that they have access to the right attribute fields within Akeneo, and how it pushes out. How do we map that to look good for our customer? You know, whether they're using their mobile phones, whether they're using websites or tablets. You know, how do we push that product out and cover off all of those attributes that we're enriching? Make sure that the mapping is done correctly via the API. So that's probably my role day to day in a nutshell.
Would you say PX evangelist?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So that brings us on nicely to talk about PX.
Yeah.
So first of all, tell us what it was like at Assa before you had the PIM.
Horrible. And as I'm sure probably everyone else has experienced that pain point, that the data was all over the place. You know, you've got seasoned product managers that have got a wealth of knowledge about individual products, but that knowledge base is in their head. And COVID was a big driver for that, because obviously the absence of that knowledge, you know, you lose gaps within that data when customers are calling up asking for specific info. They can't reach that data source. Again, different product managers working in Excel, the back of a napkin. You know, data could be anywhere. And in some instances it still is, but it's a mindset. We're trying to get our product managers to sort of work in a specific way. But the data was horrible. You know, it's when you launch a product and you go to market, you think your data's good. Oh, it's got an image, it's got a product title, it's got a description. Wow, I can send it. It's only until you sort of go through that product journey and the customer experience, and being consumers ourselves, we want to know more about the product and where is that data stored. So yeah, that was part of the mission moving forward, and yeah, the data was horrible.
Okay. Was Assa able to achieve its goals?
I think so.
Before the PIM? Working in the old regime?
Yeah. No. Well, in a roundabout way, yes, because we weren't so much in a digital age where you know, product information was needed at the fingertips of our customers. So the data's only as good as it is, and you're only ever going to achieve the sales based on that. And whilst we had a vision that we wanted to convert most of our orders to seamless, so we have an aim by 2025 that all of our orders will be 100% seamless. Okay. What that means is that no one will touch the order. So whether it's placed on our B2B platforms, e-commerce, or via EDI feeds or OCR, as we mentioned, we're at about 85% at the moment. We were in a sort of lower number, about 46% maybe 4 years ago. So we have seen growth, and that is down to product enrichment.
Okay. Were you feeling, before you started on your PX journey, were you able to be competitive within the market?
Not really. Lack of information, basically. So, you know, you've got comparable businesses out there that sell similar products to ours, maybe less inferior, like they're not that good. I'll get that out there. As are better. But how do you showcase that? You know, it may be good, but if it's missing the type of finish, if customers don't know what colour they're buying, or if they're not exposed to a well-informed buying decision, we lack the ability to promote those sales, and we were in that position.
Okay, so you brought the PIM on, you started working on the PIM, developing it, building it. So from a PX point of view, what have you done to embrace that as a company?
It's been a big mission. You know, we've had to get a lot of stakeholders involved, a lot of the key sort of exec team, But again, the product managers, I think, are the sort of bread and butter of that. That knowledge, that wealth of knowledge that they have. We went on this mission of collaborating, making sure that they had the right tools to do the job.
Okay.
But some of the feedback that we have now from the product managers is that they love to use Akeneo. It's changed the way they work. They're not working in Excel documents anymore. It's clear. We did a lot of collaboration work with understanding, putting products into families, giving them the right attributes to enrich in those families, and then giving them access to the asset libraries as well. So we try and make it more simple for them to upload the right assets that are needed for different channels. So we make them a requirement. And then within Akeneo, they can work on a day-to-day basis, knowing what their job is, what they need to do. And then they get job satisfaction out of that as well, because they can see in real time. And this was another factor, is that we didn't know how quick we could get our products to market. Sometimes 2 weeks. There was no accountability. We turn a product on in the ERP system. Is it going to show up tomorrow? Is it on our platform? Can our customers buy it? Does it have the information that we believe is being sent? Whereas now we have full accountability. If it's not displayed online, well, is it enabled in PIM? Is it part of the API? Is it being sent? And we can quickly fix that. And that's with the customer at the forefront of our minds. The customer is king, and if they can't see our products, we can't sell it, we can't grow. So yeah, we've done a lot of that work, a lot of automation. I've always said that I want to try and automate myself out of a job, but I'm still here. I can't do it. I physically can't do it, but it's enjoyable, and I think that's the key, is that we've made it enjoyable for our users within the PIM.
Okay.
To enrich the products and to make sure our customers are happy.
Okay. So what would you say was one of the most important things to embrace early on from a PX point of view when you're dealing with the PIM?
Why? Why are we doing it? What is the end goal? Is to grow sales, reduce returns, tell a story to the customer, empower the customer to be well informed. And I think with those key sort of attributes that we set out on our mission, it kind of makes it easier to fulfill those gaps along the way. We've listened to a lot of customer feedback, and we do every day. We wanted to reduce call times coming into our CSD teams to make them more sort of reactive rather than proactive, and we've almost cut out the middleman. With customers ringing up because they can't find the right information, and we're sending out PDFs, so we have to find the assets, and we've managed to answer those questions and create a better customer experience along the way.
Okay. So what has PX brought to us? So from the wow factor, what has it brought, especially via websites?
Well, the wow factor is I'm on stage now. And also, if you can rate me 5 stars on the app afterwards, everyone's looking fantastic. But yeah, I think the wow factor is that we have visibility and accountability of everything that we do online. And we're quick to market. We can get our products online within 2 hours of ticking a little box within our ERP system. But also, we're reducing return rates. I mentioned it earlier. We've actually seen an increase of page visits. So with the capabilities of product models. So we launched a website last year with just under 3,000 SKUs. Now you can imagine that's 3,000 different pages, and our sort of trying to engage the customer was very low. We sort of wrapped all of those products up into product models. So now we only have 300 pages. So we've seen an increase in 30% of page visits. Okay. And we've actually seen a decrease of about 15% of customers leaving the site. So that's been really key for us, and we can measure those metrics as well, and see the success of where that data's leading.
And are you finding you're getting more customer loyalties, more return visits?
Absolutely, and I think that loyalty, it works both ways, but that trust, we have to have ultimate trust. And with the new legislations that was discussed earlier, we're giving our customers a more informed buying decision. There's more information that's accessible. With the use of shared catalogues as well, they can access, the dimensional drawings, the standards that we have to adhere to now. As I mentioned about the sort of fire and panic escape, panic and exit devices that we do, is it fit for purpose? You know, this is our customers' livelihood. That's their reputation. They're an extension of our business. Can we give them the tools to do their job? And with the information that we provide, we live and breathe by it, and so should our customers. They trust us that the information is correct.
And how important is the legislation side? Because there'll be lots of different customers here, and some will have lots of legislation that they need to adhere to, especially if you're, let's say, in the food industry. So how important is legislation to Assa and getting that right?
Oh, well, as I say, it's massive because, you know, it's our customers' livelihood. You know, if we get that information wrong, they're effectively going to get it wrong, and, you know, they either install a product that they believe is correct and fit for purpose, and they're potentially facing a fine because it's not. And, you know, worst case scenario is that something bad happens, you know, and that's on us. You know, that's on the product that we've supplied. We want to be able to, you know, celebrate that this is the product for you. Trust us, give us the loyalty, and, you know, it potentially could save lives as well. So you know, we have to be accurate with the data that we're supplying.
Okay. You said in 21 you started up a new website. How many have you currently got? Because I know you did another one last week, or yesterday you were setting up another one.
We're about to go live next week with a site in Ireland. That's just incorporated. It's probably going to be our biggest website with about 7,000 products on there across 4 business units. But we've got about 12 at the moment. So, and they're all being fed directly out of our single source of truth, which is Akeneo. So from our ERP into Akeneo and then out to those channels as well. So one product may feature across all 12, but then we might have brand specific. But yeah, it's been a busy ride.
It has indeed. So you mentioned earlier about the product managers and how important they are. So who are your main users of the PIM, and what has the PIM and what has PX, what the benefits it's brought to them?
Yeah, so we've got product managers, probably about 30 or so. Digital leads, marketing teams, so they sort of specialise in the asset management. But we've just integrated the workflow. So we've got workflows now which give our, you know, product managers a sort of tailored view of what they should be enriching and why. But the biggest benefit for them is that they can see the success of what they're doing. There's nothing worse than working day in, day out in enriching data. It's tedious, it can be long, it can be boring, but for them, they can see it in real time. They can see the effect that it can have on the customer. They can see how it looks on the website. And most people don't get exposure to that. You know, it's very siloed, sort of very tunnel vision sort of approach that this is a product, I've got to do this. But they can see it working in real time, and I think that's been a massive benefit as well.
Okay. You've also got an interesting story about how sales reps using Share Catalog, which is slightly a different user case to normal.
Yeah, so with our ERP, obviously we have to go through sort of like 2-factor authentication. A lot of our sales reps that are out on the road visiting perhaps, you know, 10 to 20 different businesses a day to try and get our portfolio exposed. They found it very clunky. They found it sort of, sometimes if they didn't have enough signal strength, you know, you could never bypass to get into the ERP system to check stock availability, pricing, and obviously it was limited data. So we did an initiative in January where we selected a business unit, and there's about 600 SKUs, and we purchased 30 tablets for each of the sales reps, and now they're out on the road accessing real-time data. It's updated every 10 minutes, stock availability, real-time pricing, and obviously they can build brochures and data sheets and access print, which we have integrated with those data sheets as well. So they're actually able to build a portfolio or a bespoke catalogue for the customer there and then.
Okay. I know from talking, that we've talked many times before, that's built increased sales and loyalty from customers. But also it's meant a huge reduction into your call centre, I believe.
Massive, yeah. So roughly 70 hours a week have been saved just by having that functionality. So we have the data at our fingertips, and that's what everybody wants. We want well-informed, accurate data, make a buying decision, make a selling decision, and it's reduced our calls into our CSD team by 70 hours a week, which is, it gives them more time to be reactive and facilitate those customers how they, it's a better buying experience for them.
Okay, cool. So you've got numerous people across the board within Assa using the PIM or touching the PIM or aspects of it. How did you get them on board, and what did you find any roadblocks on getting those on board?
I mean, there is a little bit of reluctance, even today with certain product managers working in they do like to work in Excel. They do like to, some of our marketing teams like to work within InDesign. They've been brought up in a way that's their way of knowing how the products are enriched. We don't shy away from that. We embrace that as well. So we actually generate templates from within Akeneo to give to the product managers so they know exactly what they need to enrich. And then we give them the ability to import. So, they can import, they can see their data. Maybe a bit of a slower process, but they're engaged. And I think that's the key thing is to, everyone works differently, but we have our main goal. We have our single source of truth, how we get the data in there. It's all vetted. It doesn't feel different to the user, but it still meets our criteria.
Okay.
And they're happy working that way.
Okay. So I've heard about how using PX is really benefiting Assa. It's benefiting employees as well. So let's turn attention to your customers. How has product experience benefited your customers?
Well, like I say, they're exposed to more products now. They're well informed. They're making better buying decisions, more accurate buying decisions. And we've actually seen an increase in sales because of that and a decrease in returns. We're receiving a hell of a lot less returns now because they know what they're buying. And I think it's more than just actually what they're buying. It's their livelihood. How do they promote it? Can we give them direct feeds? Can we feed their web shop? Can we feed their product portfolio with our information? And then the generation of custom built sort of catalogs as well. So the shared catalogs comes into that massively. Is that they're now generating their own content. We're doing the work for them. They are an extension of our business. We should be doing that. We give them access to all of our assets, all of our imagery, brochures, data sheets, dimensional drawings, at the click of their finger, right at their fingertips. So our customers keep returning to us, and that's what we want.
And that's great for your distributors, be that if that's B2B or B2C. But what about your pure B2B customers, like the locksmiths, like the specification work? How has it benefited those guys?
Well, there's probably a different avenue for our locksmiths because they're out on the road, they're doing installations. But with some of the asset management that we have, we actually launched a mobile app back in 2021, I think it was. And we now, with the use of print, send our data sheets directly to an app, which they can sort of use. But we also do real-time sort of video conferencing, so they can remote into a sort of technical support and then show them what the problem is. But then we can actually pull up the dimensional drawings. We've got access to those quicker. So for our locksmiths and the guys that are out on the road, it's benefited them as well.
Okay, sounds like it's going to save them a huge amount of time and money, and they can get on to the next job. Okay, so why should other organisations embrace PX, product experience?
I think, well, for us, I think you've got to try and walk before you can run. I think you need to know the mission of what you want to achieve, and then everything will fit into place. We can't do that without the PIM. We can't sell products without telling a story. Right through to our smart alarm kits, which we sell via Yale. The page content, it tells you a bit about the product, but it also makes it relative to you as a human. It tells a story that makes you think, actually, I understand that. Where could that go? So having the right product information, and we can't tell that customer, we can't provide the customer journey without PX. it's a massive asset to our business.
And you feel others should be able to embrace that and work through that and have similar sort of results that Assa have got.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen sales growth because of accurate data. We've seen, less returns because of the accurate data as well. It's key. It's pivotal to have that information.
Fair enough. Last but not least, what would you say were the main takeaways that you would like our esteemed audience to take away with them today?
To be empowered, we're empowering our customers, we're empowering our workforce, understand the mission, as I mentioned, but yeah, we believe in what we're trying to achieve. We believe that our customer is king, that they should have the right information, and I think that using PIM, it's a really powerful tool. Even if you're just a small independent reseller. I mean, I've recently ventured in to try and sell products online. I can't do it without a PIM, as much as I think I can, selling on, sort of e-tail platforms and things like that. But yeah, become empowered, recognize the mission, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Learn from those mistakes quickly, but make them. We're human. Yeah, that's what I would suggest. Okay.
What about things like integrating into things like BI tools and that type?
Oh yeah, massive. Yeah, so we now have real-time reporting. So a lot of our exec team like big screens on the walls, and to justify having a 55-inch TV, they like to see, flicking between, Richard and Judy. They like to see a real-time reporting, which we've been capable of doing via SQL. So we take the information out of PIM, we run it through a few sort of platforms. We can have real-time buying information. We can see all of our sales frequency. We can see what products are at a bronze level. So there's perhaps it has to have an image, product description, brand name, a few pieces of criteria. Are we selling all of those? Are they all enriched? Are they our A's? Are they their high sellers? And should we be focusing on A's, B's, and C's first? If we've got 1,000 D's, why are we enriching those first? So it gives well-informed buying, product enrichment, for our key stakeholders and MDs that, justify those big screens. So Power BI has been a massive tool for us as well.
I guess you wrote it all together with the product experience, the tools that you can plug into it. That's giving you Assa the wow factor to be sell more, to be able to get more market share, to be able to get more loyalty from your customer base.
Exactly, yeah. And it all comes down to accountability. We are accountable for whether the product's displayed online, whether the information is correct, what information is being sent, and ultimately our customers' buying decision. If they can make that quicker, brilliant. If they can make it well informed, excellent. We are responsible for that, and you've given us the sort of structure and the platform to build on and amplify everything else.
Brilliant. Matt, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.